The 52nd Rocket Division, Russian, 5-2, was a division of the Soviet and Russian strategic rocket forces, active from 1961 to 2002. The division traced its lineage to the formation of the Red Army's 23rd Anti-Aircraft Artillery Division during World War II in January 1943. In the spring of that year it served on the Northwestern Front with the 27th Army, then was transferred to the Steppe Front with the Army in May. The 23rd provided air defense for the Army in the Belgorod-Kharkov offensive, the Battle of the Dnieper, and the Battle of Kiev. In December it transferred to the 60th Army, with which it spent most of the rest of the war. The division fought in the Proskurov-Chernovitsy offensive, the Lvov-Sandomierz offensive, the Sandomierz-Silesian offensive, and the Battle of Berlin. For helping to capture Ternopil and Berlin, the division received the cities' names as honorifics, and was awarded the Order of Bogdan Khmelnytsky and the Order of the Red Star for fighting in Silesia. At the end of the war in May 1945 the division fought in the capture of Dresden with the 3rd Guards Tank Army. Post-war, the 23rd was stationed near Vienna, and after the Soviet withdrawal from Austria in 1955 was stationed in western Ukraine and renumbered as the 97th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Division before being disbanded in 1960. Two of its regiments were used to form the 206th Rocket Brigade of the new Strategic Rocket Forces at Brześć, Perm Oblast. In 1961, the 206th was expanded into the 52nd Rocket Division, which inherited the honors of the 97th Division. Until 2002, as part of the 31st Rocket Army, the division successively operated R-16, UR-100, and RT-23 intercontinental ballistic missiles. It was disbanded in 2002 and its lineage inherited by a base for storage and transshipment which was tasked with dismantling the division's missile facilities. The base was disbanded in 2007 after the completion of its task. The 23rd Anti-Aircraft Artillery Division of the Reserve of the Supreme High Command, RVGK, began forming on January 15, 1943 in Moscow at the Anti-Aircraft Artillery Training Center, part of the Moscow Military District. It was formed from personnel of the Sevastopol Anti-Aircraft Artillery School and VNOS, Air Warning, Observation, and Communications, troops, and was commanded by Colonel Nikolai Sitnikov. Writer Sergei Smirnov served with the division from its formation. The 23rd completed its formation on February 21 and included the 1064th, 1336th, 1342nd, and the 1348th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Regiments. The 1354th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Regiment was part of the division on February 1, but was replaced by the 1064th after being transferred to the 27th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Division by the time formation was completed. The 1064th was armed with heavier 85mm guns, while the other three regiments had 37mm guns. 2 days later the 23rd joined the Northwestern Front, and was transported by rail to Krestsy Station, arriving there on February 26. The division was tasked with providing air defense for 27th Army supply stations in the Staraya Russa area and the airfields of the 6th Air Army in the areas of Zernatka, Vypolzovo, Krestsy, and Guzatino. It was spread out along 110 kilometers of railway line and up to 120 kilometers in the rear area, creating considerable command and control problems. The 1064th and 1336th regiments were closer to the front in the 27th Army sector, while the 1342nd and 1348th regiments were directly subordinated to the Northwestern Front headquarters. In this arrangement, German aviation became more active from March 1, and He-111 and Ju-88 bombers, as well as Bf-109 and Fw-190 fighters overflew locations defended by the 23rd multiple times a day at an altitude of 5 to 6 kilometers. The newly formed units of the division, which had previously conducted training, began combat operations. On March 5, the 2nd and 3rd batteries of the 1064th Regiment repulsed multiple air attacks in the Parfino area. During April, the division repulsed 17 German air raids, of which 7 included several aircraft and 10 of lone aircraft. Later that month the 23rd was transferred from the Northwestern Front to the RVGK and relocated to Voronezh Oblast. On May 25 it became part of the Steppe Front, providing air defense to the 27th Army, which had also relocated from the Northwestern Front. In early August, with the 27th Army, the division advanced towards Graverod in the Belgorod-Kharkov offensive. It engaged in fierce fighting in the crossing of the Vorskla River. Graveron was captured on August 7. During the battles in the area, the 23rd claimed 12 enemy aircraft and 60 of its men were decorated. For most of the rest of the month, the division stubbornly fought for the Vorskla crossings near Otturka. The crossings changed hands multiple times. During these actions, the men of the 23rd often had to use their guns in direct fire mode against German tanks and infantry. In the Otturka fighting, the division claimed 29 German aircraft and 72 of its men were decorated. The 23rd then fought in the Battle of the Dnieper in the fall, responsible for providing air defense for the advance and supply lines of ground forces in the area of Zarabintsy and Grigorievka in the battles for the Bucharin bridgehead. After the capture of Kiev in early November, the 23rd was transferred from the 27th Army to the 60th Army in December. It would serve with the latter for most of the rest of the war. On January 18, 1944, Sitnikov was killed in fighting near Polon. He was replaced by Colonel Yakov Lyubimov, who would command the division for the rest of the war. In early 1944, the division fought in heavy fighting for Shepatovka, claiming 7 enemy aircraft before the town was captured on February 11. For their actions in the Shepatovka fighting, 32 soldiers of the 1342nd Regiment were decorated. By March 1, the 1064th Regiment was detached from the main body of the division and directly subordinated to 1st Ukrainian Front Command. During the Proskurov-Chernovitsy offensive, the division helped capture Ternopil on April 19 and was awarded the name of the city as an honorific for its actions. By June 1, the 1064th had rejoined the rest of the division with the 60th Army. The division was split again by July 1 when the 1342nd and 1348th Regiments were directly subordinated to the front headquarters, though it was reunited by 1st August. In the summer, the 23rd fought with the 60th Army, tasked with the initial breakthrough in the Lvov-Sandomierz offensive. The offensive began in mid-July, with the division covering the breakthrough of the 3rd Guards Tank Army and the 4th Guards Tank Army in the attack on Lvov, which was captured on July 27. It claimed 18 enemy aircraft downed and 4,745 German soldiers captured during the offensive, and for exemplary fulfillment of command tasks its 1064th Regiment was awarded the honorific Ulnov. By the same decree, dated August 10, the 1342nd and 1348th Regiments received the Order of the Red Banner. In early January 1945, the division advanced out of the Sandomierz bridgehead, where it had ended the summer fighting, in the Sandomierz-Silesian offensive. The 1st Ukrainian Front's attack was directed towards Krakow in southern Silesia. The former city was taken on January 19, with the division claiming 32 enemy aircraft downed and capturing 2,280 soldiers in the offensive. For its actions, the 1064th Regiment received the Order of Kutuzov, 3rd class. After the capture of Krakow, the division continued advancing towards Ratibor, reaching the Oder on February 2. Between February 21 and March 14 it helped defend the Dabrowski Coal Basin region from German counterattack. For participating in the capture of the Coal Basin and of southern Upper Silesia, the 23rd was awarded the Order of Bogdan Khmelnytsky, 2nd class. In the subsequent attack on Ratibor, the division provided air defense for the crossing of the Oder by Soviet troops. Ratibor was captured on March 30, and the division claimed 28 enemy aircraft downed in the fighting. For exemplary performance of command tasks in the attack on Ratibor, the 23rd Division was awarded the Order of the Red Star. From April 16, the division fought in the Battle of Berlin. Between 21 and April 30, it provided air defense for the ground troops. The soldiers of the division also fought in urban warfare in the streets of Berlin, participating in the capture of 8 city blocks. During the battle, the 23rd claimed 16 aircraft downed and killed numerous German soldiers. For courage and valor in the capture of Berlin, the 23rd was awarded the name of the city as an honorific. Between 3 and May 5, it moved to the Dresden area as part of the 3rd Guards Tank Army, where the surrounded German 9th Army was attempting to break out to the west. It helped capture Meissen on May 6 and Dresden on May 7, the latter was its last combat of the war. For actions in the capture of Dresden, the 1336th Regiment received the honorific Dresden and the 1342nd Regiment the Order of Alexander Nevsky. During the war, the 23rd was credited with downing 352 enemy aircraft, killing 3,695 enemy soldiers, capturing 12,090, destroying 10 artillery batteries and 17 tanks. 2,966 soldiers of the division were decorated, with 26 receiving the Order of the Red Banner, 1 the Order of Kutuzov, 3rd class, 1 the Order of Bogdan Khmelnytsky, 2nd class, 4 the Order of Bogdan Khmelnytsky, 3rd class, 2 the Order of Alexander Nevsky, 65 the Order of the Patriotic War, 1st class, 116 the Order of the Patriotic War, 2nd class, 645 the Order of the Red Star, 169 the Order of Glory, 3rd class, 1022 the Medal for Courage, and 915 the Medal for Battle Merit. After the capture of Dresden, the division was relocated to Kornberg-Stockerone near Vienna. Until 1955, the division served there as part of Soviet occupation forces in Austria in the Central Group of Forces. In May 1955, the Soviet troops were ordered to withdraw from Austria, and in September the 23rd was relocated to Shepetavka in the Carpathian Military District. On September 1 it was renumbered as the 97th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Division in accordance with a directive dated August 28. In 1958, it was rearmed with new surface-to-air missiles. Around the time the division began disbanding, a process completed by 1960. With the introduction of intercontinental ballistic missiles into service beginning in 1959, the Strategic Rocket Forces, SRF, were formed to operate the missile launch facilities. In accordance with a directive of May 1960, the 206th Rocket Brigade was formed at Brześć, Permoblast, from the 1170th and 1208th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Regiments of the 97th Division, the 35th Air Force School, and the 15th Tank Training Regiment. On August 10, the 1st Brigade Commander, Colonel Georgy Stop, was assigned. He assumed command on August 27. The formation of the 206th was completed by November 19. The retraining of its personnel on missiles began in October, starting with training launches of the older R-2 missile. It was initially placed under command of the 24th Artillery Range Administration, but from May 10, 1961 it joined the 5th Independent Rocket Corps. On May 30, the 52nd Rocket Division began forming from the 206th, with its headquarters 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles, from Brześć in a camp that became known as Perm 76. The formation of the division was completed on June 27, which became its annual holiday. It included the 721st, 723rd, 730th, and 734th Rocket Regiments, along with support units. On July 22, the 1st Division Commander, Colonel Zinovy Ivanov, took command. Around this time the construction of the division's combat launch positions and other facilities began, delayed by wooded and swampy terrain until the concrete surfaced road was completed. The first combat launch position was completed in December. In 1962 it began training with the new R-16 ballistic missile. The 1st Rocket Battalion went on alert duty on March 13 of that year, and by 1965 all of its rocket battalions were on alert duty. On July 27, 1962 the 52nd received the battle flag of the 23rd Anti-Aircraft Artillery Division. It had previously inherited the honors of the 97th Division. Beginning in May 1964, the battalions were expanded into separate rocket regiments. Around the same time, the division began receiving updated UR-100 missiles, and on November 24, 1966 the 1st UR-100 Armed Regiment went on alert duty. On June 8, 1970, the 52nd became part of the 31st Rocket Army when the Corps was expanded. By late 1970, the last of 7 more UR-100 regiments had been placed on alert duty. These regiments were the 176th, 263rd, 598th, 608th, 684th, 721st, 723rd, and 730th Rocket Regiments. By the same time, the division had conducted a total of 20 R-16 training launches. The 52nd also added division and regimental command posts with automated command and control equipment in 1967, and in 1971 received satellite communications systems. Its separate rocket regiments became Unified Rocket Regiments in 1967, and were completely rearmed with UR-100K missiles by 1975. Between 1976 and 1978, the R-16 silos were dismantled, with some of the equipment being sent to other divisions. In 1988, the 52nd began re-equipping with the RT-23 Molodets rail-mobile ballistic missile, launched from railway strategic missile trains. The 1st RT-23 Regiment, the 161st Rocket Regiment, went on alert duty on April 22, 1989. By 1991, 3 more RT-23 regiments, the 174th, 223rd, and the 721st Rocket Regiments, were on alert duty. Simultaneously, the UR-100KS were withdrawn from the division and their regiments disbanded, a process completed by 1994. On November 26, 1966, the 161st Regiment conducted a successful RT-23 training launch at the Plesetsk Cosmodrome. This was the division's only RT-23 training launch in its career. The disbandment of units started in February 2002 as part of reforms of the Strategic Rocket Forces. One of the 52 NDS-4 regiments was taken off alert duty and the first section of its ballistic missile trains were sent to be scrapped. The division's last commander, Major General Boris Sinenko, expressed his colleagues' misgivings at the time, wondering whether the decision was timely. On December 1, the division's honors were transferred to the 1328th Base for storage and transshipment of BZHRK components, under the command of Sinenko, who led it for the duration of its existence. The base supervised the removal of the division's equipment until it was disbanded on September 1, 2007. During the 5 years of its existence, it shipped 37 missiles to Strategic Rocket Forces storage bases and arsenals, and drained rocket fuel from 40 missiles. The following officers commanded the division during its existence. Colonel, promoted to Major General, Zinovy Ivanov, July 22, 1961 to April 1, 1966. Colonel Pavel Parshin, April 1, 1966 to May 7, 1969. Major General Pavel Kabanov, May 7, 1969 to February 26, 1973. Major General Anatoly Drukyaev, February 26, 1973 to September 20, 1976. Major General Valery Kozlov, September 20, 1976 to December 20, 1980. Major General Veniamin Belousov, December 20, 1980 to June 21, 1984. Major General Ivan Balabokin, June 21, 1984 to June 29, 1989. Major General Yuri Kirilov, June 29, 1989 to November 4, 1993. Major General Alexei Subotin, November 4, 1993 to June 16, 1999. Major General Boris Sinenko, June 16, 1999 to November 30, 2002. Dudarenko, M.L., Perekniov, U. G. Yelisaev, V.T. 1985. 1941 to 1945 Liberation of the Cities, a handbook of the liberation of cities during the Great Patriotic War, 1941 to 1945, in Russian. Moscow, Voenazdat.cs1 made, ref equals Harv, link. Fektistov, U. N. 2001. Borzenkov, A.S., ed. Orenburg Strategic, in Russian. Perm Book Publishing House. ISBN 5-93683-0012.cs1 made, ref equals Harv, link. Feskov, V.I., Golikov, V.I., Kalashnikov, K.A., Slugin, S.A., 2013. The Armed Forces of the USSR after World War II, From the Red Army to the Soviet, Part 1 Land Forces, in Russian. Tomsk, Scientific and Technical Literature Publishing. ISBN 9785895035306. Glodin, D.P., ET8L, 2009. Reliable Shield of the Motherland, The Strategic Rocket Forces in the Perm Land, in Russian. St. Petersburg, Mamatov Publishing House. ISBN 978-5-91076-028-2.cs1 made, ref equals Harv, link. Gherkin, V.V., ETAL, 1972. 3. 1943. Combat Composition of the Soviet Army, Part 3, January-December 1943, PDF, in Russian. Moscow, Voenazdat.cs1 made, ref equals Harv, link. Gherkin, V.V., ETAL, 1988. 4. 1944. Combat Composition of the Soviet Army, Part 4, January-December 1944, PDF, in Russian. Moscow, Voenazdat.cs1 made, Ref equals Harv, link. Main Personnel Directorate of the Ministry of Defense of the Soviet Union, 1964. 1941 to 1945 Commanders of Corps and Divisions in the Great Patriotic War, 1941 to 1945, in Russian. Moscow, Frunze Military Academy. CS1 made, Ref equals Harv, link.